Welcome back to another episode of Fran Opps Live. I'm your host, Jared Mann, a founder and CEO of Fran Opps. And this is the show where we help entrepreneurs and elite entrepreneurs and empire builders discover franchise opportunities that align with their goals, values, and vision for the future. So here's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the shift in American dads, how to prioritize family and still build wealth. That's what our conversation is. So what I did today is I asked Google a very simple question. I asked it this. I said, what are a father's deepest desires? Actually, what I did, the first thing I did is I typed in, what do dads want? and I just got a whole bunch of listings about Father's Day gifts. But anyway, I changed it to, what are a father's deepest desires? Because I got 4 kids myself, and I know what my own desires are. I kind of wanted to see what the Google world is saying about other fathers' desires, and it said that at the core, fathers long for 4 things, and it didn't mention money, it doesn't mention status, and it doesn't mention career success. Like, you can go look these things up yourself. Do this on Google, your own. But here's the 4 things it said. It said number 1 was this: to know that they are deeply loved and that their presence truly mattered in the lives of their children. Okay. The second one is this: they want to leave behind a lasting legacy. As a franchise consultant, I hear that from nearly every male I talk to. Is some kind of form of legacy language, right? Not just financially, but also they want to pass on their values and their character and their wisdom. So that's a pretty common one. The third one was this: it was to provide security and protection for their family, both while they are here and when they are gone. Okay. So a big one, right? Protection. So, like, want to feel deeply loved and have a strong presence in the lives of the children. Number 2, leave behind a lasting legacy. And number 3, wanting to provide security and protection for the family. And then number 4 was this: ultimately, to see their family experience genuine peace, joy, and fulfillment. Just as the dad wanting to see their kids and their spouses be able to experience true peace, true joy, true fulfillment in this life. And as a father of 4 kids myself, I can attest to the fact that, like, when a father prioritizes being a father over other lesser priorities in life, these really do become the desires worthy of chasing. They will become your desires when fatherhood becomes your priority. And so the challenge is that for most dads, it feels like somewhere along the way, like, many men have been told that the only way to provide those things is to end up sacrificing your time in order to go achieve and attain more money. And so what we do is we spend decades climbing these ladders and working overtime and traveling consistently and missing moments that really matter, and those moments that you'll never get back. And all the while, we kind of hope that maybe someday it'll all pay off and we'll finally be able to have enough freedom to enjoy the time with the people that we were working so hard to be with in the first place. Just to realize that oftentimes that time usually passes that father by sooner than they expected. The conversation today is this: what if that equation could be changed? What if building wealth and being fully present with your family don't have to be competing priorities anymore? And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Our guest today is Jay Nielsen with Resi Brands, which is the parent company of some of the fastest growing and most exciting brands in the home services space today, like brands like That One Painter and Pink's Window Services and Garage Up and Action Exteriors. And then one that Jay himself actually helped co-found, which was Monty's Handyman Services. Jay has built incredible businesses. But more importantly, here's what I really love about him. He's been intentional about building a life where his family comes first. So he's going to share a little bit more about his journey and what that has looked like. And we're going to talk about what he's learned along the way, and really why he believes more fathers are beginning to redefine what success really looks like. So, whether you're joining us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or some other, location later on down the road, whether you're a dad hoping to become, or maybe you're just hoping to become one someday, or simply you're just someone who's trying to build a meaningful life and you don't want to sacrifice anymore the relationships that matter most to you. I think you're going to get a lot out of today's conversation. So, with that, let's dive in. This is Fran Opps Live. Yes,
Man, doesn't that
yay.
get you pumped up, dude?
It really does. Holy smokes. I'm
It's
ready
so
to go
good.
like go run and I don't run. And like that gets me that gets me pumped up, dude. Ready to put my bald head through a brick wall.
Dude, you're like
Um,
a tank. If you went for a run, the ground would be shaking.
I
People would
really
be
am.
like, "What's going
And
on, man?"
my kids are built that same way, just very
Yeah,
tank like short, stocky, right? It's like,
yeah,
and they're
yeah, yeah.
heavy. Like
They
Shepherd,
got
our
some
1-year-old,
mass.
man, he's like this, but he's like a heavy, like a 20-pound bowling ball.
Dude,
It's crazy. So,
they got them
man, it's
genes,
good to see
man.
you, brother. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for being a part of this conversation. And
Yeah,
I'm excited to share some of your story and to learn from you how you've managed all of it because you've been able to be a part of and to achieve some pretty incredible things in life, especially with Resi brands and the relationships
mhm,
there. And so I just think, man, this is pretty incredible to have you on and to talk through this
yeah,
stuff together. And it's important. I love that when I first asked you, hey, Jade, can you come on? And here's some ideas. Here's some concepts of things we can talk about. I think it would be
yeah,
really cool to talk about with Resi Brains, some of these things you're doing. And you were like, what if we did this? Talked about fatherhood and
mhm,
kind of how to balance that with being able in building a business that leads to building wealth and all these things. I was like, man, I love that. That speaks to my heart. Let's do it. So let's
mhm.
dive right in, man. I
Yeah,
want to start with tell us a little bit about your story so everyone else knows who we're talking to.
yeah, man. I so it's kind of funny. Resi Brands has been a huge blessing to me.
Mhm.
I went to high school with Stephen in
Mhm.
a place called Bend, Oregon,
Mhm.
and
The
so we
CEO.
went. Yeah, yeah. So the
Mhm.
CEO and founder of Resi Brands, and so he had moved out to Texas, and he had met his wife, done the Bible college thing, and then he started that one painter, and he kept kind of
Yeah.
like messaging me about actually a church plant out in Austin. He's
Yeah.
like, "You gotta come out. You gotta come out. You gotta come out." He kept doing that, and I was like, "Dude, I don't really want to like uproot." You know, I was kind of
Yeah.
working in the medical field at that time. All that's what I was doing,
Yeah.
and I would stare out of like the window every day during lunch, and I would like sip my coffee and like eat my pack sandwich, and I was just like, "Oh man, there's more out there."
Yeah.
You know? And
Mhm.
I was just like, "Man,
Holy
there's." I
smokes.
had this really big just kind of, entrepreneurial itch, like, in
Mm.
college, I was, like, making this new brand of oatmeal with protein and had the cards lined up. That actually became a really big thing, but I did it
Yeah.
before it existed. I was
There you
making
go.
all these different things, and I
That's
I
great.
had this investor lined up and everything, and, kinda just making all these different things. As a kid, I made, like, what I believe is the first snow scooter. There's probably something that dated before me, like
Okay.
in the '80s or
Yeah.
something. They hadn't been, like, mass produced, but I had all these designs as a kid, and I was like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna create stuff," you know? And so
Man,
kinda
so it's been in the
always
blood.
had that.
It's
Oh,
been
yeah,
that
yeah.
itch has always been in you.
Yeah, yeah, there's some Nielsens out there in the family. These guys are
Mhm.
just entrepreneurs through and through, and so, anyhow, eventually, I actually instead of taking Steven up on it, I said, "Hey, you should Tyler will go out there," who was my best friend,
Yeah.
and he did,
Said someone else.
and he moved out there, and then he was
Yeah.
texting me, he's like, "Dude, you gotta move out here," and he was working, like, pest control, and he's like, "It's so good, it's such a big thing."
Yeah.
And, it was just the craziest thing to me because that's not a thing in Bend, Oregon as pest control. It wasn't
Oh,
at the time.
sure.
Now people pay for it. I don't know why in
Yeah.
Bend, but, anyhow, I moved
Yeah.
out there, here to Austin, and, eventually I ended up working with Stephen and that one
Mm,
painter, and this thing has just grown to this huge
mm,
thing,
yep.
that it is today now, multiple brands, and, Stephen brought me in to co-found Monty's, and I got to be part of taking action to market and coaching the Pink Skies on how do you do franchise
Wow.
development and how do you do these
Yeah.
calls, and just have really enjoyed getting to know, Brandon and Carter. They're just incredible people, and Jake Smola with Action and his brother Nick and
Mm.
his whole family. Awesome family. And so, anyways, just been an awesome journey. Love the trades.
Yeah.
Since joining the trades in Texas, which started as pest control, just worked my way up there and was managing a really large company called EnviroGuard.
Mm.
Couple of awesome guys out there just with a big dream of building something big.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I ended up in the trades. But the trades is just they've blessed my family
Yeah.
in really incredible ways.
Mm.
The
Tell
first
me about your
Yeah.
family a little bit.
Yeah, so I've got my a wife, Gretchen, and then we have 2 kids, 2 sons. We have, Ezrin, our oldest, who's a
Okay.
three-year-old. He's crazy,
Yeah.
and then I have a one-year-old who's equally crazy, just a little animal. His
Yeah.
name is Crosby, and, they're just awesome, man. But
Yeah.
there's kinda tying in the message for today, there was this unique experience that I kinda had over the last couple years,
Mhm.
the last few years. And my dad was diagnosed with cancer,
Mm.
and it was really far along. And what I went through was unique in that I was losing a father
Mm.
while becoming one.
Oh, wow.
And so there was a lot of time spent with my dad in the hospital. He's passed now.
Okay.
And there was a lot of time spent in the hospital with him. There's a lot of time flying, to visit him and spend time
Mhm.
with him. And the big thing that you're thinking through there while becoming a dad and while losing one is you're thinking about the memories that you have with your father.
Mhm.
And at that time, it was more than just losing my dad. I'd lost my grandparents.
Mm.
Being completely open, we had a couple of miscarriages, and
Mm.
we're walking through
Wow.
all of this grief and loss.
Mhm.
And it restructured my thinking, around what matters most in life. Growing up with tons of
Mm.
ambition and wanting to just do big things and do
Yeah.
amazing things, my faith as a Christian and a follower of
Mhm.
Jesus being the anchor of that, it was like, "Hey, I wanna go do big things, and I wanna be successful, and I
Yeah.
wanna give it over to God," right? But you do find yourself, as you're growing in your career,
Yeah.
sacrificing your time with your family and
Mm.
your kids for the sake of some big ambition or
Yeah.
some big thing. And we
Right.
kinda stripped back everything, my wife and I, and what really matters. And so what
Mm.
really matters is, well, number 1, what's your stance with God? That's
Mhm.
my biggest belief.
Okay.
2 is what's your stance with your wife and your children? Like, what are they gonna take away, and how are they gonna remember you?
Yeah.
And if they're the core element of your life,
Mm.
like, do they feel that way? Like, is it
Mm.
reflected? Or are you working until 8 p.m. every night? Are you
Yeah.
chasing the corporate ladder? Are you putting in weekends? And so it
Mhm.
really made me restructure my life, going through all these things to say, "No, no, no, I need to really focus in on my family unit and
Yeah.
how I'm treating them and how available I am to them, and
Mm.
what memories are we making?" And
Mhm.
something that stood out in particular was that, I'd heard somebody say like, "Hey, I want you to think about this. You get 17 to 18 summers with your kids.
Yeah. Right.
Like, they're not in school, they're
Mhm.
around, like, all of this. And obviously, that's different when they're little because they're
Mhm.
kind of always around.
Right.
But that really stuck with me because it's like, well, okay, at the time, I was like, had a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old wherever Ezra was at.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
now I'm like, dude, I'm going to take advantage of summers. And when you look at what do children remember, most oftentimes, and this is interesting, they remember a family vacation
Yep.
that
So true.
happened during
Mhm.
summertime. That's
Yep.
what they remember is those moments and those memories that you're creating,
Yeah.
during their off time and things like that while they're young children.
Yeah.
And a lot of memories kids don't have and they don't maintain, but they do maintain this overall sense of being loved and supported and
Yeah.
well known, and the
Yeah.
times that you took them aside to encourage them.
Yeah.
Um,
Why do you think that is?
you
Why do you
know,
think that is the vacations or the things that stick out as core memories?
you're getting out of your element and you're fully available. You're
Mm.
fully there and fully present.
Come on. Yeah.
That's what kids want. they want time with Jared,
Yeah.
fully present, fully available.
My
Not
kids. My
Yeah,
not yeah.
yeah.
My kids want time with dad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
that's what they want with me is that I'm not looking at my phone, I'm not
Mhm.
focused, I'm not distracted, that I'm
Right.
fully present and just kind of looking into their soul and just loving them for who they are.
Yeah.
And, there's something that stood out to me is my dad was kind of reserved. He was an amazing man who really loved me well and
Mhm.
provided for me well,
Yeah.
but he didn't really do words of like affirmation and
Sure.
like really talk through things.
Yeah,
He was
not a great
present.
verbal encourager.
Right. So we're doing things side by side. We're always working on a car or working on
Yeah.
a project and spending time together.
Yeah.
Um, and at one point, and this was uh, when I was in my early 20s, I said, Dad, all I want for my birthday, because he was asking me what to get me, is this, I want a letter from you
Really?
about how you feel about me.
Wow. And how old
And
were you?
it was in my 20s, early
Wow.
20s.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I can do that." And he wrote a letter for me. And it was the first time that I'd heard my dad say just really incredible things about how he views me and how he thinks about me.
Mm,
And one of the things in that letter that stuck with me is, "You will never be outside of my love."
mm.
Your kids, what they and that stuck with me.
Wow.
I actually have it on my keychain now. My wife put it on a keychain to remember my dad by.
Yeah.
And kids wanna know that they're fully loved
Yeah.
and that, like, your attention is on them. And
Yeah.
so I'm meeting a lot of people right now, we're talking with hundreds of people at any point here at Resi Brands, and I'm seeing this shift in focus here with
Yeah.
dads
Yeah.
where they want to build a legacy that's so much greater than some nice house in some neighborhood,
Right. Yep.
than nice cars and all
Mhm.
these different things.
Yeah.
No, 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 they wanna be present. I
Yeah.
remember early on a franchisee, what do you love the most about, being a T1P franchisee? And what he said is, "I go pick up my daughters from school,
Mm,
3 PM every day."
come on.
He's
Yeah.
like, "I love that time with them."
Wow.
And so now what we're seeing is a rejection of the corporate grind of
Yeah.
climbing this ladder
Yeah.
for this crazy amount of money that you don't need in a lot of
Yeah.
cases for work that's gonna take away and compromise the family system.
Yeah.
And I'm just seeing that so often now, which is why I was
Mhm.
so excited to talk with you about it, because I'm seeing people restructure their lives by envisioning what their future could be
Yeah.
if they had their evenings back with their family, if they
Yeah.
didn't have to say or put
Mm,
in for a time off request to go do
yeah.
something with their
Yeah.
kids, to go
Right.
see a recital or something. And I like the way that Dan Henry talks about it,
Mhm.
at BAI. He says everybody at these big corporate jobs, these big, huge companies, where all the layoffs are happening, they're walking around and they're all saying the same thing. I feel like every day I walk into work, I've got this target on my back.
Mm,
And it's like they have that on top of all the expectations, on top of all the compromises, that their life just feels a little out of balance. And
yeah.
now they're looking to change that. And
Yeah.
so, anyways, that's super
I think,
long,
gosh, that's
but
really good. I think, recently one of my kids or one of someone, it might have been actually, it might have been my wife asked me because I found out they were talking. She was talking about those with the kids,
mhm,
and some of the question that everyone was answering was if you could be famous in anything,
yeah,
what would you choose to be famous in? And so I got in the van. Then Rachel's like, "Hey, here's the question. What do you think? If you could be famous in anything, what would you choose to be famous in?" And I said, I instantly my mind went back to like some Instagram reel I saw forever ago. And I think it
yeah.
was some
What was it?
pastor. And the only line I remember was he goes, I want to be famous in my own home,
Mm,
you know? And
yeah,
that's always stuck
yeah,
with me. And I'm like, man,
yeah,
how do we do that as fathers? Get to a place where we
mhm,
prioritize that this is what we want. This is the thing we want. First of all, it makes it our desire. And then secondly,
yeah,
how do we do it? How do we practically go after that? Becoming famous in our own
yeah.
home. My daughter actually got a camera for Christmas last year. Like but
What?
it's like an old
How old
school
is your
camera.
daughter? Yeah.
So this I have a couple daughters. This one I'm talking about, Wrigley, she just turned 6
Okay. Cool.
and
Yeah.
or 7. No, she just turned 7. and sorry, she got a camera last Christmas that like prints off right away in these like
Yeah.
black and white
Yeah,
little
yeah,
photos,
I got
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I've
little
got
pieces
one.
of paper, and she's been taking photos of everything. And she was this one day was going around just taking all these photos, and she came by and took this photo, and then I turned around. I didn't know that she was there. I didn't know
Yeah.
she had come and gone, but I turned around and saw underneath my office door a little picture that
Yeah.
was slid under the door. I don't know how long it had been there, but at some point she had come by my office,
Yeah,
took a picture, printed it off, slid it under the door, and left. And this
yeah.
was the photo. I've kept it ever since. It's gonna be hard to see. I don't know if it'll look clearly, but it's like
You're working, yeah.
I'm working. It's
Yeah,
her. What I realized, I looked at it and I said, "This is what she sees. Her perspective
yeah,
is my backside facing a computer screen, and I'm on the phone, right? That's
yeah,
what she sees, and the thing
yeah,
is, so now I keep it right next to my desk, so I'm constantly as a constant
aware.
reminder to myself, like, "Don't let this
Yeah.
be the only image
Mhm,
she has
mhm.
of you working,"
Yeah,
right? And I don't want that to be what I'm known by
yeah,
her. So
yeah,
how do we do this, Jay?
yeah,
How do we cut this tension that we have as fathers to
mm,
be successful
yeah,
providers,
yeah,
but also be
mhm.
present fathers? How do we do that?
I feel like we fall into the trap that if I don't do this and if I don't do that, and we set such a high level of perfection in our life
Yeah.
that if you're always chasing that, you're going to make compromises. And so we need to
Mhm.
figure out what do we need to be a perfectionist in? Like, what are the core elements? Because truthfully, business stuff for entrepreneurs, it's hard. It's like
Mhm.
you could always do more and you
Yeah.
always want to do more and you know
Yeah.
you could always do it and you know you should have done this and you should have done that and
Yeah.
the stuff just stacks up. But when we start to prioritize family and I think really rein it back to what matters most, there's a few like really practical things that we can do. Um, One is like how available are you with your kids?
Yeah.
'Cause I know a lot of people, honestly, that are they're doing a morning commute, they're going to work, and then they're doing another commute back to get home. You know, kids sometimes are at daycare, kids are sometimes
Mhm.
at home, depends on the family setup, and they're getting an hour before bedtime
Yeah.
with their kids every day.
Wow.
Maybe they get weekends too, you know, but
Mhm.
that's really limiting, and the question that I would propose for the person in that situation is, what would it take to change that?
Hmm.
What is that a desire of yours to have more time with your kids? Is that a desire of yours to spend more time with them?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you
that's
got
the question is, do you even want that? You know, because I think
right.
that's a fair question. Because
Mhm.
if many dads are being honest, it's I wouldn't say that they and maybe they would agree that they don't actually want that. I think many of them
Yeah,
can relate to the sentiment that they want that,
yeah,
but to say that they want
yeah,
time with their kids,
mhm,
sometimes that's hard, and I get it as a father of little kids. It can be hard sometimes. Sometimes it's like, "Man,
yeah,
kids are annoying, they're taking up
mhm.
time, they're getting in the way of something, they're like, what do we
Yeah,
I can't go
sure.
throw a football with them, like, what do I do?" Right? And
Yeah,
it can you can start to have these thoughts and wrestle with this tension of, "Do I
mhm,
even want to be here?" And when you're
mhm.
down and that can be really hard sometimes, I think, for fathers.
I think for new dads especially, I remember calling Steven at one point, and I had Ezra and my newborn at the time. It's like, "Dude, I don't know what to do with this guy."
Yeah.
Like, he's new, and
Mm, yeah.
like, all I do is hold him, you
Yeah.
know? And he's
Yeah.
like, "Dude, you're overcomplicating it."
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you just hold him and you be
Just be there.
present, and things
Yeah.
will change over time, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But, like, I really yeah, I do think that there may be some maybe a reality check for some dads of like, "Hey, is that something I want?"
Yeah.
When you look at our, like, age bracket, a lot of us grew up with, you know, dads that weren't fully present, and they were doing the work thing, and they were
Mhm.
doing, like, you know, and, I didn't really have that specific, you know, issue in my
Yeah.
life, but I would say that there's a lot of us that grew up with kind of, you know, fathers who were kind of in that same boat.
Mhm.
And I think it's just such a missed opportunity, you know?
Mhm.
I think that there's something that is really important too, which kind of goes back to what, you know, I was talking with you at the beginning, which is there's a couple of places in the Bible specifically
Mhm.
that kind of have rooted me. One would be like James chapter 4.
Mhm.
It's like, "Hey, don't boast about tomorrow."
Okay.
You don't know how much time you've got,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
You can make all these plans, but you don't know how much time you've got, and so it's kind of a reality check of, "Wait, what matters most?"
Yeah.
And you just like, "How do my kids feel, and how am I treating my family?"
Mhm.
And then you've got some other little strings throughout scripture too, which are really cool, that have stood out to me, and one is Psalm 90. There's a
Mhm.
little tidbit in there. There's a lot of tribulation in Psalm 90 and hardship and, just recognition of man's failure. But then it says, "So teach us to number our days," got it right here, "that we may get a heart of wisdom." And so getting back to the practical steps, write down what matters most in your life and how you want to be remembered. And does your current life situation,
Yeah.
is it feeding that deep desire,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
if it doesn't, what does it
You
take to
gotta make a
change it,
change. You gotta make a change.
right?
Yeah.
And change is
No,
never like
nobody's going to
comfortable,
make that change for you, and if they
right?
do, it's typically not a change you want. If they do
Hmm.
make it, typically means you've been let go or something
Yeah,
like that.
right.
No one's gonna make that change for you. So you as the
Yeah.
father, it is your God-given responsibility. Even if you're not a
Hmm.
individual of faith, okay? I want you to
Yeah.
understand you have been created by the
Hmm.
Almighty, and He has gifted you the responsibility of leading, providing, and taking care of your family. It is
Hmm.
your responsibility to do that. Okay. And so you have to take that responsibility and you have to own it. You cannot just let life just happen to you and your kids. You got to
Yep.
take the responsibility for that. And so keep going, Jay.
So many people grew up without a present father, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're changing it. Like,
Hmm.
it's your choice. It's your
Yeah.
choice on what you do. It's your
Yeah.
choice on how you live your life. It's your choice on what you do for a living. It's your
Yeah.
choice if you're gonna go build a business on your term or if you're gonna
Hmm.
quit your W-2 and find a better one, you know? It's
Yep.
all your
Yep.
choice.
Yeah.
And so, it's just like, but prioritize it because it matters
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
much, and you'll be so much happier if you prioritize the responsibilities and the things and the family unit that you've been given and blessed
Yeah.
with, and it's just like
Yeah.
that's just something really, really powerful. This last year, we took a lot of time off, and we went to back to Bend, Oregon, which is where I'm from. We took my kids. We stayed there for the summer, and like just loved it, and had so
Yeah.
much fun, and made all these memories. And my kid Ezra, and he's like keeps telling me, "Dada, let's go get back on a plane." And let's go do that again. It was so
That's
fun. And he
awesome.
just remembers my time off and playing every day and
Yeah.
going to the river. And like,
Yeah.
it's like, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And
Yeah.
so find time in your life that you can carve out now
Hmm.
before you figure it all out. You can figure this out, right? You
Hmm.
can go find an amazing business. You can talk to Jay at Resi Brands and we can talk about starting a business, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and but find time now where you can start making this thing happen.
Yeah.
Something that we're guilty of, me and my wife,
Mhm.
is we just started realizing we haven't been on dates. We've been busy having kids. It's like you get
Yeah.
these little kids and
Yeah.
then people got to watch them and then they're sick and then no one can watch them because they're sick. You just keep going through the cycle.
Yeah.
And so we went on a couple dates, and we're like, "What do we do? What do we do? Like, how do we,"
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and
You
so
find yourself in it, you just talk about your kids the whole time too. It's
yeah, yeah,
typically the
yeah.
case. Yeah,
And
right.
we got home, and she's like, "I missed them so much. How
Yeah.
can that be?" It's like
It's amazing,
take
man.
some baby steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do like the Dave Ramsey approach, and
Yeah.
just take some baby steps to your
Yeah.
life to you know have a really amazing life with your young kids while they're young.
Mhm.
Like, if you're building everything for the future after your kids are out of the
Yeah.
house, like, well, shoot, man, like
Mhm.
do fun things while your kids are in the house and enjoy it. Be a present dad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the action items I would say, is just
Yeah.
get practical, write some
Yeah, I
stuff
think that's
down.
so that's very helpful. I remember, earlier this week, even my Rachel was gone, and I had just kind of finished up work, and, sitting there, and my kids were outside playing with the neighbors, and so I'm sitting there with our one-year-old, and it's like my mind races 100 different
Mhm.
ways, right? It's like, man, I need to get ready for this trip coming up. I need to do this at the house still. Oh, the car
Yeah.
needs this, or I forgot to do this at work today. Like the mind goes 100 different places.
Yeah.
And then something just hit me. I I praise the Lord for it. Something just hit me. Go, hey, just be present with your baby. Like
Mhm.
I know that you can't play a video game with them, or you can't go play
Right.
catch with them, or you can't like go
Yeah.
on a walk or he's walking and talking. Like, I get all that. But right now, you can just, if you don't be present in this moment, you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's already one. And pretty soon
Mhm.
he's going to be two, and then five, and then 18.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be gone. So I literally just took the moment and I sat down on the floor with him and we like tossed a balloon back and
Yes.
forth
Yeah, yeah.
forever. And it was like we
What
accomplished nothing.
that
I accomplished nothing that time, work-wise,
Yeah,
and I praise the Lord for it, and I'm just so thankful to go,
yeah,
but I accomplished something far greater, which was
yeah,
just being present with my son and
yeah.
him building this emotional,
Mhm.
bondage recognition that, like, this is dad.
Yeah,
He's safe, he's good, he's
yeah.
fun, he's
He's
kind. That's what
interested
I
in
want,
me,
right?
you know? One-year-olds are tough because as a dad, like, we like to play and roughhouse and all this, and the
Mhm.
one-year-old's just stepping into all of that. They're just
Yeah.
getting familiar with it all. Something fun that I've started doing is I'll just go and lay on my side right next to him,
Yeah.
and just we'll just
Mhm.
tinker with whatever he's
Yep.
tinkering with,
Yeah.
and like, we were out at dinner in this kind of fun spot, and my wife took a video of me, and there's like this tractor on the ground, and
Yeah.
I'm just laying in the middle of the,
Yeah.
this like turf,
Yep.
this artificial turf of this restaurant there with him, and I saw that. I was like, okay, that's what I want to be. I want to do more of that. I want to be
Yep.
interested in what my kids
Love
are
that.
interested in and just
Love that.
be present, and
Yeah.
it's just,
Mhm.
I think we overcomplicate it so much,
That's the truth. And you and the thing is, like, you and I, we have these moments of we recognize while we're in the moment, like, we can do this, but
Mhm.
for business owners,
Yeah.
right, they
Mhm.
have the opportunity to make it an intentional practice.
Yeah.
Most
Mhm.
people with the W-2, it's going to be like that. It's gonna be moments where they catch themselves in it or just the
Yeah.
little bit of time they have after school and after work, and
Right.
on one family vacation, a summer maybe. They're gonna try to make the most of it if they can, but people that own their own business, own their own schedule, own their own calendar, they have the ability and the blessing of being
Yeah.
able to be intentional about these kinds of things, putting it
Yeah.
into their schedule, putting it onto their calendar, putting it into their weekly and daily
Mhm.
rhythms of here's my priority is my kids, right?
Yeah.
Second priority is going to be business, family, whatever it's going to be,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Friends, blah, blah, blah. So they get the potential to do that. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How are the Resi brands set up in a way that they've, do they even I don't know if most franchises think, how do we build a business that's helpful for dads? And maybe that's not the like how
Right.
Resi brands were built, but are they built in a way that at least allows fathers, mothers, parents to prioritize family, or at
Yeah.
least gives them the ability to do that? Why would like
Yeah.
Monty's or Action
Mhm.
or Pink's, why would these be good opportunities for
Mhm.
parents to explore as their
Yeah.
next chapter to help start working toward
Yeah.
being intentional as a parent?
What I say is your first year is your hardest year, and the whole family's on board. We're starting a business. It's gonna take a little bit of extra work, right? You're putting in
Yeah.
the hours, you're putting in the time.
Mhm.
Um, but even with that, there's great flexibility. You're the owner. If you're sick, you're sick. You don't call
Mhm.
anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you wanna take off and just block off the afternoon
Mhm.
and Friday, you take
Yeah.
your kid and do whatever you wanna do.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
there's a great amount of flexibility, with business ownership. I look at Jake Smola here in Austin, Texas. He's, one of the owners at Action Exteriors.
Mhm.
Every Friday, he's on the boat. Like, it's the afternoon, he's done.
Wow. Wow.
It's more than every Friday. He's doing it all the time. I know he does.
Yeah.
He's
And
out
he's got
on the
kids?
boat. Yes, he has
Yeah.
kids, and
Wow.
they're out on the boat, and they're enjoying life, and
Wow.
he's done that for a very
What
long
a
time,
blessing. Yeah.
and I look at that, and I think it's awesome. I look at all the entrepreneurs I'm surrounded by that have joined the Resi Brands portfolio, and they're all doing this kinda stuff where they're blocking time off, they're doing this, they're taking vacations. I talked to Dylan Walker. He was a 22-year-old kid when we met him, and he was a painter who ended up buying out and partnering with the franchisee that he had worked for, and then
Yeah.
now has expanded to multiple territories. So I think he's still in his 20s. He's a young kid.
Yeah.
And I asked
Well, him and his partner, Hunter,
Mhm.
we've had on Fran Opps Live before. It's been a
Yeah,
while, but we had
yeah,
him as a guest too to talk about, his
yeah.
experience.
Um, Dylan, I asked him and I was like, "Hey, Dylan, how you doing?" He's
Yeah.
like, "Jay, I'm doing great." Because I was asking him about last year, just to recap.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I took 5 family vacations." He's like, "I got
Wow.
all this time with my kids."
That's almost every other
He
month.
said yeah, and he's like, "I bought a GMC Denali," and he's, like, all excited about that,
Wow.
he's a Shreveport, Louisiana boy, like
Yeah.
a Texas boy, and he's all,
Yeah.
stoked about the GMC Denali. He's like, "And I got this really expensive golf set in the back of my truck." He's like, "It probably shouldn't be back there because someone might take it," but he's like, "We're living good, man," and I
Dude.
love seeing that because of how
Wow.
young Dylan is.
Yeah.
And shout out to Dylan.
Yeah.
He's doing it. He's doing it
Yeah.
and spending time with the family. And yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stories like that, which is just so cool for me to see. So
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
business ownership is the most amazing way to do that in your
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and you're in control. It
Yeah.
takes work, but Cody Sanchez always says, "Choose your heart."
If someone is listening, they're still with us, or they're
Yeah.
watching this later on. If someone is listening right now, a father, right, and they feel
Mhm.
like they're falling behind at home because, like, maybe he's just so focused on work, right?
Mhm.
What advice would you give him?
Start with small steps, man. Just start with the baby steps. See what time can you carve out with your wife and with your kids, and how can you be fully present. The big rule that I'd say start with today is pick a time where you take your phone and you just lay it down.
Hmm.
Don't
Yeah.
screen side down and be
Yeah.
fully present with your kids. Don't be
Yeah.
interacting with your kids like this. And then it's like just
Yeah.
put it down, man.
Yeah.
Pick a time in your life to really prioritize them. And
Yeah.
that's what I'd say. The second step I would say is really get into what you want out of your career. And if you need to make that big jump into business ownership,
Yeah.
give me a call. Give
Yeah.
Jared a call. Like, let's
Yeah.
take those steps and let's
Yeah.
plan this
Exactly.
out. Get strategic. We get to hear everybody's why. It's always the same themes. It's always
Yeah.
the same thing is, man, I want to build something I'm proud of. I want to be more
Hmm.
in tune with my family, and I want to build a legacy that I can hand off to my family,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so take the steps, man. Don't wait.
Yeah, yeah, that's so well said. Thank you, Jay. Thanks, my friend, for sharing that and just speaking from the heart today. I've heard it said, friends listening, that um, at the end of the day, 20 years from now, the only people that will remember how hard you worked right now, will be your kids. The
Yeah.
only ones who will remember that you worked late at night will be your kids. And unfortunately, it's typically not a good reminder. Typically means you weren't there. You weren't at the stuff. You weren't at the events. You weren't at the gatherings. And
Mhm.
man, so if that's you, if that's one of your deepest desires, if this is the life I want to build, let's connect. And all you got to do today, the very first step, easy step, there's no commitment here. Easy step is just type in dad in the comments. Whether you're watching this now live right now, or you're watching this 6, 12, 18 months from now later on, type dad in the comments and we'll pick up the conversation from there. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to understand where you're at, who you are. I want to understand your life experiences, your goals, your vision for the future, so that way I know how best to help you get there. Okay, and that's what ultimately, as a father to another father, that's what I want to do. So let me help you do that very thing. Good deal, Jay, my friend. I can't, while they're doing that, again, I can't appreciate you enough for
Thank
sharing and
you.
talking,
Yeah.
and just even paint a picture a little bit about some of the Resi brand opportunities, what those could look like and have looked like for some other
Mhm.
fathers. And I'm excited to continue to partner with you and send you
Yeah, man.
individuals that have that same vision, share that same heartbeat, and they'll want to build something meaningful for their life and for their family too. So thanks, my friend, for being here.
Jared, thank you so much, man. You're a
Yeah.
stud. Appreciate it. And have
Yeah.
a great day, man.
All right, everyone. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye.
This is not just another business.
This is not just some trend.
This is not a campaign.
This is a revolution.
The blue-collar revolution is here.
And we get to witness it firsthand every single day.
We're proving that skilled trades aren't second class, they are essential.
We are building the future.
We're not just creating jobs, but building generational wealth.
We are making a positive impact on our community and changing lives.
It's
not just about getting by and making a paycheck.
We are flipping the script on blue collar through excellence and kindness.
We're not just standing on the sidelines, but setting the standard on the front lines.
We are Resi brands. We are leading the blue collar revolution.
And the revolution has only just begun.